And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick here with Katie Greifeld, taking you through to that closing bell with a global simulcast. We're joined now by Massar and Tim Stenovec. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, television, radio, our partnership with YouTube on yet another chaotic and yet monumental day in U.S. and global financial markets. Markets hanging on every single word coming out of President Trump out there at Davos, Switzerland.
Yeah, as he moves around the globe, continuing to control really the narrative, what we keep covering, and where the market goes. And you're absolutely right. And I've been looking at something like semiconductors, some really mega outperformance throughout the day. We're looking at the stocks right now up about 3%. Intel is a big reason why. I'm going to talk about one of that. I'm going to talk about why. And maybe there is no reason, but they do report what is it tomorrow. Maybe there isn't. Wow, that's a tease. Okay. But we'll talk about it a little bit later on in my gainers.
I'm just trying to understand, do we call this, like, is this the return of the taco trade?
Are they whispering?
Yes.
Is that exactly?
Oh, yes.
Is that exactly what happened here?
Yes, it's exactly what happened.
Can we say
Did you
that?
see our red headline?
What is he chickening out from this time?
The tariffs.
Well,
I mean, he said he was going to impose tariffs
Yeah.
February 1st. Then the red headline comes. You saw immediately spike in S&P futures, and we're off to the races.
But it's a framework deal, so theoretically, maybe there's some sort of win.
But the idea of a framework deal is like a term that's been used in the past. I mean, you go back to the debate that he had with Kamala
Concepts
Harris
of a plan.
last year. Like, concepts of a plan for healthcare, exactly. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we make fun of it, but at the end of the day, 24, 36 hours ago, it looks like we were about to, go to war with Greenland and maybe with all of NATO and the European Union. And at least for today, it looks like the president has backed off that as he closes out his trip in Davos, Switzerland, heads back to the United States, and maybe a bit more of a focus on some of the domestic issues that continue to plague this nation. As for financial markets, a great day all around, recouping some of the losses from yesterday's sell-off. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up almost 600 points or 1.2%. A similar percent move higher for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And the outperformer, once again, for a 13th straight session, it's the Russell 2000, up 53 points or 2% even.
Giving you some love today. All right, let me go back to the S&P 500. What's interesting is earlier in the session, we did see some pressure on most of these names. Right now, we've got 414 names in the S&P.
I remember that. What was that? David Bowie and who was
Under
the other
Pressure?
one? Yeah.
It was also covered by My Chemical Romance and The Used, which is a great version.
Pressure.
Nice.
Man, I don't think we have the rights to that, guys.
Romaine's dulcet tones. 414 names in the S&P 500 higher today. 89 to the downside. Katie, take it away.
Let's talk about the Circle. It has so much good news today. It is completely green, a perfect score. 11 out of 11 sectors in the S&P 500 finishing in positive territory.
Is that a contrarian signal that I'm looking at right there?
We'll find out tomorrow. This is a much different picture than we were looking at 24 hours ago. What's leading in terms of a percent gain is the energy sector, higher by about 2.4%. But it was big tech that is adding the most points because that sector higher by about 1%. Your relative underperformer was utilities, only higher by about 0.2%. Consumer staples just a little bit ahead of that. But again, that speaks to this risk-on mood, Carol.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that, Intel, here we go. I teased it a little bit, kind of pathetically, but here we go. Intel, your number 2 gainer in the S&P 500, number 1 gainer in the NASDAQ 100. Check it out, up almost 12%.
That makes sense.
Because?
I have no idea. I thought you were going to tell us.
Go back to singing, perhaps. Okay, so the highest intraday, no, actually the highest, I think, at the close here in about 4 years. As I mentioned, a top gainer in the major averages. So this one, for such a long time, couldn't kind of do anything right. We've seen quite a bump up. Check this out. It is up, I think, about 44% year to date. Year to date, what is it? January 21st. So that's pretty remarkable. Gained 84% last year. The company is going to deliver quarterly results Thursday, so we'll see whether or not it comes through. It's just been on a tear, so I had to point it out.
It's 47% year to date, and even if you go back to November or something, I mean, they were talking about a 60-70% rally, but that's a setup into earnings tomorrow. So it raises the question of, like, what do they have to report tomorrow that's actually going to help maintain these gains? Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of people disappointed.
And I do feel like that might be the story among some of these companies that have been on a tear, right? I think we saw a little bit of that with even the banks, price per perfection and then some. Hey, Moderna, top in the S&P 500. Bernstein raised the target on the company to 35 from 25, maintained their market perform rating. This this stock is up more than 60% year to date, highest in more than a year. You might recall yesterday that the company's a personalized cancer treatment developed by Moderna and Merck helped prevent the recurrence of high-risk skin cancer after 5 years. Some new data out that. So we're keeping an eye on this one.
Wear your sunscreen, people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's important.
You're welcome.
You're singing, you're full of helpful tips. And this one.
I had a cream soda before I came here.
Well, you know what goes good with a cream soda?
Yeah.
A Nathan's Famous hot dog.
Delicious.
Yes, this one rallying up about 8.7% in today's trade. Smithfield Foods said it would acquire Nathan's Famous in a deal valued at about $450 million, securing the rights to a key product in its business's largest segment. They had an exclusive license, so this goes out. But what's interesting...
$450 million?
Yeah.
For hot dogs?
A lot of hot dogs. A lot of buns.
Wait, what's interesting? I want to know this.
So it's connecting this New York icon, my husband loves Nathan's Famous, the fries are really good, to a company whose Chinese ownership has previously caught the attention of the Trump administration. So Smithfield, based in Virginia, its largest shareholder is Hong Kong meat processor WH Group Limited.
All right. That should go over well.
I was so close to asking Carol if I could do the gainers today just so I could do the Nathan
He's like,
story.
hey,
I was like, you got to do
You got
this.
to do this one.
Tim, do you like hot dogs?
I like talking about that Nathan's is a
He probably eats like a veggie.
publicly traded company.
You don't eat hot dogs, do you?
I do not partake.
I didn't think so.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about stocks that moved lower today. I want to start with Netflix. Shares fell earlier in the session, fell rather more than 2.18%. But with all this buying, even Netflix got some buying late in the session. This after the company gave a disappointing forecast for earnings due to increased spending on programming, its deal for Warner Brothers Discovery. Netflix plans to increase spending on films and TV shows by 10%, and it secured streaming rights to movies from Universal and Sony. Once again, shares finished pretty much at their highs of the session, but still down 2.2%. Also, Kraft Heinz Company, Berkshire Hathaway, looking to sell its 28% stake in Kraft Heinz. It's the final step in a separation months in the making.
See ya.
Shares of Kraft Heinz down 5.72% as a result of that. The move to exit Kraft Heinz comes just 21 days into Greg Abel's tenure at the top of Berkshire Hathaway. It follows a decade-long underperformance by the company. And finally, T1 Energy shares took a hit today, down 5.6% today. It's a small cap. It manufactures solar equipment, solar modules, sells panels, builds solar and battery storage. Fell as much as 15% earlier in the session. This after Culper said it's short the solar equipment maker.
Yeah.
In a post on X. Shares paired their declines, though, to fall just 5.6%.
And I'll just add a quick honorable mention to keep an eye on some of those software stocks, which continue to be under pressure. Microsoft, Salesforce down, software as a services, AppLovin down for a fifth straight day. Meanwhile, we did see a slight drop in yields on the day, trying to recoup some of the moves that we saw from yesterday, basically about 4 basis points on the longer end of the curve, shorter end of the curve. Basically not a whole lot happening there. Of course, the big focus today, Carol and Tim, really was on a lot of the stuff coming out of Davos and a speech by Trump that was actually supposed to be about affordability.
Yeah, and
It was a little bit about affordability.
a little bit about
Housing?
affordability, yeah, and TBD, I guess. We'll wait.
I
for
heard a
some
lot
of the
about
specifics.
windmills.
We
I-
did.
We're talking about that in just a minute.
We are indeed. Thank you for that.
Have you ever seen a windmill in China?
I have
Not in
only been
China.
to Shanghai, and I don't remember seeing any windmills.
What's that incredible wind farm in California, on the way to like Yosemite? You know what it is?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's incredible. It's just like mile after mile of just
when I
wind.
was a kid, there was that movie Less Than Zero with Robert Downey Jr. And I remember there's that great scene where, he overdoses when they're driving out through that windmill farm.
Huh.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds like a trip.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Knight Swift earnings, want to do it?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I guess we got to do some work here. Knight Swift, of course, the big trucking provider, reporting earnings right now. That's crossing the wire here. The company saying revenue came in a slight touch below at the average of street estimates, $1.86 billion. The street was looking for about $1.9 billion. And EPS also a miss here on an adjusted basis, 31 cents a share. The street on average was looking for about 35 cents a share. It'd be kind of interesting to dive a little bit deeper into this because just a few days ago, we were actually talking about a bit of a rebound in the trucking market. Of course, backward looking to the fourth quarter, so maybe it doesn't reflect that just quite yet.